Hey family, it's Jaqui Rogers.
And I'm Surilla Shaw, the mother of this wonderful young lady.
Oh, Mom, you're so sweet. And we are with Blessed Are the Bereaved. And we're really excited because today is a special episode from the couch because we are excited to welcome Mama Taneshia Miles of Mothers of Angels, Lhwhyh's chapter, here with us today to tell us a little bit about the work her organization is doing in the community to support bereaved parents. But before we jump into that, we have two announcements. We're really excited.
Yes, great things are happening.
Yes. So get your calendars out because we've got two dates that you need to mark down. All right. I'll give you 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right, here we go. Sunday, May 5th, we will be hosting our second and final Companioning the Bereaved volunteer workshop. Now, this workshop is designed specifically for individuals who are interested in learning more about how to effectively support members in our community who are experiencing the death of a loved one. So our first one was a huge success. We'll be offering our second and final one before we actually launch our official Companioning the Bereaved parent support groups. So that will be taking place Sunday, May 5th from 3 to 6 p.m. at 3969 Washington Boulevard. Is it Boulevard?
It's
3969 Washington Boulevard at Greater Bethlehem Elderly Apartments in their community room.
Yes.
All right. I have the link to that form, to that registration form in the comments section of this video, as well as on the website.
Yes, so come on and become a companioner of the bereaved with us.
Yes.
And then on Saturday, May 18th, from 9 a.m. to noon, we will launch a telethon style sign up. You will be able to call in and we'll have a panel of volunteers who can assist you with your application.
Yes.
In one of two ways. So Jaqui, why don't you tell them how that's going to work?
Yes. And so if you would like for us to call you, I've included a link to a form where you just tell us your name, your phone number, and the time between that 9 and noon time frame that will work for you, and we can have our volunteers call you. Or closer to the date of this event, we'll provide you with the phone numbers that you can call in, and we'll have volunteers on standby ready to help walk you through that application.
Yes, so they can literally take your application over the phone if you choose not to go online and complete it yourself and send it in. Yes. So in a way, we've got three ways. People can do that as well. Let's get started.
So, speaking of community and support, we're really excited that Taneshia Miles is here with us today from Mothers of Angels. Mothers of Angels, Lhwhyh's chapter. She's here to tell us a little bit more about the work she's doing through her organization to support parents in our community who are bereaving or who are grieving the death of their child. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
We are back, and we are so honored and proud to have on our couch, to be sharing our couch today with Mama Taneshia Miles of Mothers of Angels, Lhwhyh's chapter. And so today we're going to be learning a little bit about the work that she's doing in the community to support grieving parents, as well as a little bit about her own bereavement journey. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I'm honored to be here.
Yes. So, getting started, you brought this amazing book here, and it kind of captures and summarizes the work that you do. But tell us a little bit about Mothers of Angels, and what it is.
So I started Mothers of Angels in 2016, and I started by making a memory book for a parent, actually the first child that's in the book that I highlighted, and I made her mom a memory book and like a little dog tag for her daughter after she passed away. And I was like, well, let me just start making more memory books for other parents, and that kind of what started it. Just wanting to do something special for her because I went to school with her cousin, and I just wanted to do something to make her feel like, I don't know, take the burden of the pain off of her, or just make her feel like, you know, her child still mattered or she was still important. So that's like the ideal behind it, to support parents and let them know that even though your child's not here anymore, they still matter. They're still important.
Yeah.
We still thinking about them. So
yeah. So tell us a little.
Started it.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about the community of parents that you built. Yeah, tell us about.
So some of them I know personally. Others were referred to me from parents that I have made something from, and we have an online community where I just share different positive, inspirational quotes to them, or different events that's going on in the community that can help them with their grief, and also posting pictures of books or frames that I've made so they can continue to like bring more parents in, so I can make a book or frame for them.
Yeah, and I took the time to go through the social media group that you created, and so she can be found on social media. She has a group, and some of the testimonies that the parents have given just about the comfort they found. Because when I looked through this book, and when we had opportunity to meet a couple of weeks ago, and I saw just how unique each piece was, you know, like to each child, I could feel the personality of the child. I could feel the love that went into each one. And so it's
definitely the aim. So I ask like a lot of questions so I can personalize like their favorite color, what they like to eat, what they like to do, or if it was like a baby, what their parents inspired for them to be or to do, so it can be just for that child. And kind of tell a story when you look through them. Some of them I might start like from birth up until when they passed away, and is looking through it as like a timeline of their life. So they're very personal, and I put a lot of love into each one.
Yes. And it's almost like cementing them in history, you know, to have
to make a book.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That is awesome.
And so you talked about the first mother that you made one of these books for, but what was the inspiration behind getting Lhwhyh's chapter started?
Well, I was thinking about when I initially lost my son, and I was like reaching out to the community for different resources, and it was nothing that I can find within a community locally without having to go far out to support mothers after they lost their child. So it started with an ideal of offering support. And then I started with the books, and now I'm in school, and I'll be graduating December to be a licensed professional counselor. So, so I can offer even more support outside of the memory book through like individual sessions, group sessions, retreats, just all type of things to help grieving parents through this horrible experience.
That's amazing.
Yes. Now we recognize that this is a special niche that we're existing in. Quote has been stated that a wife who loses a husband is called a widow, and a man who loses his wife is called a widower. A child who loses a parent is called an orphan. But there's no name for a parent who loses a child. And so Jaqui and I are learning together as we affiliate more in this niche and seek to offer what would be appropriate and effective support. Our hope is that you would share your story of your loss of your child with us today. Okay. All right.
So in 2013, June 4th, 2013, Lhwhyh passed away from an asthma attack. At the time, his dad was incarcerated, so it was me and my other 3 children at the house with him when it happened. I tried to do CPR because this happened, like the whole situation of him passing out, not breathing, happened once before, and he was okay. So in our minds, we was thinking, you know, it'd be another situation like the last time where he passed out. I do CPR, they come, take him to the hospital, he'll be fine. So where we stayed at, the police station was like really close. So once we got home, he was already kind of having issues with his asthma. So I told him take his medicine as soon as we get home, which he did. Maybe a minute or so later, he was telling me he couldn't breathe. So automatically, I called 911, and I go in there and start doing CPR. The police get there maybe a minute or 2 later, and he was telling me like he didn't feel a pulse. But when I started the CPR, I felt a pulse. So once everybody got there and they did what they had to do and getting them on the ambulance to take them to the hospital, like I noticed like nobody would look at me, like nobody would make eye contact with me. So that was kind of like the first thing they had me like, well, what's going on? You know, everybody's avoiding me, and I didn't think too much of it at the time because my mind was kind of still like in adrenaline mode. It was just going.
Yes.
So we get to the hospital and they worked on them for like a good 30 or 40 minutes before they called me in there, because I was in there with my other children waiting on somebody to get to the hospital so I can go in there with them. So by the time I get in there with him, they asking me to like just touch him and talk to him. And so when I touched him, he was like ice cold, and I kind of jerked back, and I was like, it's just weird for me to feel my baby like that, just, you know, from how he normally would feel. So I kind of was confused as to why they even asked me to do that, knowing, you know, what it was. But it still didn't dawn on me. So maybe like 10 minutes later, they went ahead and pronounced him. So immediately from that moment, I just remember myself like going into shock. Like I didn't cry, I didn't really respond. It was like a blank stare or response. And I was kind of like in that state for maybe 3 to 6 months before it kind of actually hit me. And what I did was like suppress my grief. I didn't deal with it. I just tried to keep myself busy and do all these other things because I didn't want to face that reality. So maybe a year or two later, it kind of just hit me, and it hit me really hard. So I had a hard time struggling with getting through all those emotions and feelings, and it was just like really chaotic. So I ended up seeking out professional help, like going to retreats. I started going to the Compassionate Friends, and that was down in Houston, and I met other grieving parents as well. So that kind of started helping me along my journey to be around other people that experience what I experienced. And for them, it had been maybe 5 or 10 years, and they were like at a place of peace. So to see that, it was kind of inspirational for me. Like, well, if they made it through it and, you know, they feeling better, I can do that too. Because I kind of felt like it wasn't any hope, or, you know, what was the point of going on if I didn't have my baby? So just through a bunch of counseling, self-healing, and journaling, a bunch of different things I did, I've come to terms with my own grief and the situation that occurred. So I'm able to like accept it, talk about it with other people without it being such a big burden on me. But that first took me to accept it. And it's the hardest thing, I think, when you lose somebody that's like really close to you, is whether it's your child or parent or friend, is like you don't want to accept that reality. But it actually helps. It helped for me to begin to move forward, because I was like stuck in this one dark place. So it's definitely been a journey, but I kind of hope that for other parents that's experiencing or kind of stuck in that place too, that I can be some type of inspiration or hope for them, where they can deal with their grief. And whether or not they start an organization or a foundation, you know, that's not important. What's important is that they're able to continue on their life after the loss, which for some people is very hard, or they don't see how they can do that because they're used to how life was before their child passed away. And that was kind of a hard thing for me to accept the new me and learn to love the new me and my new life, because it's definitely like starting over from scratch. You know, even with having other children, and there was some things people used to say to me that were like, you got other children, and I'm like, you know, it's not him. I can have 100 other children and nothing could ever replace my son. Or some people even told me, just have another baby, it'll be okay. And I'm like, no.
Didn't understand.
No. So that would be another thing that I wanted to kind of start teaching people who's around the people that lost a child how to help them cope, and certain things not to say or do that makes it worse for them. Like some people might not realize if they walk up to me and ask me, well, how many children you have? You know, that right there for a bereaved parent is the hardest thing, because it's like, well, do you say the number that you have and now you got to go into explanation? Well, I have 4, but 1 passed away. Or do you just say how many you currently have? And then it's like a guilt that comes along with that, because it's like you're not acknowledging your deceased child. So
this is a big reality for you.
Yes.
And it is who you are when they ask you the question. Do you mind telling us which way you usually answer it?
It depends on the mood that I might be in, because sometimes I might just say for and don't explain if they're not with me. But if they're with me and they see that I have 3, you know, and I'm saying for, then they're going to automatically ask, you know, well, where's your other child? So now it doesn't bother me as much as at first. You know, I can just say it and talk about it without it being an issue. But I know for some parents that can be like a breakdown or a breaking point for them, because it's like that reality is thrown into their face without the other person, you know, doing it intentionally or knowing that that's what's happening. But that's just a big reality for bereaved parents, or something we have to deal with, you know, on a regular basis.
You touched on earlier, you know, first of all, that you hit a point where where it was necessary to seek out professional help. And then you also touched on what some people in your immediate village said that wasn't really helpful or supportive in nature. And so when you think about that immediate village, the people who surrounded you while you were grieving, what were some of the most supportive things that were said or done? And then what were some of those things that, you know,
you
like,
say
like in your head, you're like, why would you say that to me? You know, what were some of those things?
Well, I can remember like all my family just being around immediately afterwards, not really saying anything, because it was like really nothing you can say, but just the fact that they were there and willing to just take care of all the little things for me, so I didn't have to worry about paying this bill and doing this and doing that. So they kind of helped take that burden off immediately. So that was the biggest thing, just them being there. Because like I said, it's really nothing to say, and it's like such an awkward thing. Even for me as a bereaved parent, if I encounter another bereaved parent, it's like, what do I say? And it's like, okay, it's nothing to say. Just be there for them, and you know, just go from there. And pretty much the things that I mentioned were like the no-goes, it'll be okay. It's like, never tell them that, because technically it's not. They might get to a point where like I am, where you can deal with it, but it's still technically not okay. Yeah,
it can still be triggering.
And then you have people that's not religious, and so when you tell them like your child's in heaven or in a better place, you know, we kind of feel like the better place was with me, you know. So that was one of the things that kind of bothered me. But I know people not saying this to be ill-willed or, you know, ill-intentioned. They really don't know what to say or do. But some of those common cliches are just not appropriate, you know, for bereaved parents, because like I said, they feel like they want their baby with them. And even if I'm that spiritual person that believes in heaven and my baby's with God, you know, I'm still sad because I want my baby. So those were like some
How old was your son, and how long ago did he die?
So he was 8. And yes, it was in 2013, June the 4th, 2013. So he just finished up 2nd grade, and we were just starting summer off, you know, getting ready to do all those things for summer. So this year he would have been 15. Yeah, he'd been 15 this year.
Well, it's beautiful what you're doing to keep the memory alive of both Lhwhyh and children.
Just all over,
we lost.
Yes. It just acknowledges the value of their presence.
Yes. It's a difficult subject to talk about or address or just bring up, period. A lot of people try to just stay away from like one of them things of like, well, maybe I should just not say too much about it. But I'm here just ready to just tackle it head on and talk about it, deal with it.
So if you could give, you know, if you could share words with parents who are going through their bereavement journey, what would they be? And then a message to the village that's supporting those parents, what would that message be?
The biggest thing I would say is to own your grief. Whether it's a sad feeling, a happy feeling, just own it and experience it, and don't let society force you to feel like you can't cry or you can't be sad or you need to get over it. Take your time, do everything on your own terms, and just make sure that you address it and not try to suppress it or not deal with it. And as far as the village goes, just support them. No matter if it's been 5 years, 10 years, just be there for them and don't rush them to, you know, quote unquote, get over what's happened. Like, just always acknowledge their child, talk about them, speak about them, because we love that.
Yeah.
We love to hear that. Some people might feel like, oh, if I bring it up, it's gonna make her sad. No, it makes me happy that you even thinking about my baby.
You remember.
To acknowledge.
Yeah.
Deal with your grief and acknowledge our children.
Yes.
Oh my God. What a beautiful lady you are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're so blessed that you joined us, and we're excited. Can I mention that you signed up that you're gonna be at the next workshop?
Oh, sure.
Yes. And we're also excited because, as she mentioned, she's in school, wrapping up her licensing to be a counselor, and this is your hard work, and we're so happy that you'll be joining us at our next Companioning the Bereaved volunteer workshop. Like, we have dope, amazing individuals like this, like Taneshia, who are going to be doing this hard work in our community, and so we're so grateful to know you.
Yes, I'm so grateful to have met you. Thank you, Nova, for tagging me.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Nova.
Mama, you gotta meet Nova.
I gotta meet Nova.
Yes.
That's another dope individual.
Yes,
Right.
it's just an awesome community
Yes.
of Black
Yes.
women who are doing and being the work.
Yes.
And it's healing ourselves and trying to heal everybody else.
Yeah.
So true.
Oh gosh. Yes.
So if people want to get in contact with you, shout out, you know, what's the website, what's the Facebook tags, how do they get in contact with you?
Let me look. Facebook is Mothers of Angels, and you can just type LC, or you can type Lhwhyh's chapter, and Lhwhyh is LHWHYH. On Instagram is MOA Lhwhyh chapter, and Twitter Lhwhyh chapter. So any one of them, you can just type in Mothers of Angels, and it should pull me up.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and
Thank you. I know. Let me in
Group
there.
hug.
Oh. Thank
All right,
you.
family. Well, we will see you soon. Peace.